This is OpenNMS 102, a new KSC. KSC reports provide a way to generate prefabricated graphical views of collected data. Information can be found in the Horizon Operation Deep Dive documentation under Visualizations, Operator Board, Dashlets, KSC Reports. This module requires at least one non-administrative user. Module 2, Adding Users, discusses how to add non-administrative users. The resource type named Tutorial is covered in Module 6, Collecting Metrics using SNMP. The nodes against which the KSC will be applied were created in Module 13, Provisioning. KSCs organize graphs in user-defined ways. This might include viewing equivalent interface metrics between primary and secondary routers, or viewing limited object data on a single node. As stated in the prerequisites, this module will use the SNMP extension tutorial collector metrics produced on each of the nodes: Denver, New Orleans, New York, and Sacramento. To get an idea of the problem that KSCs are trying to solve, try to compare the tutorial metrics for Index 1 between two nodes, Denver and New Orleans. The process requires selecting the Denver node, choosing its resource graphs, selecting the first index of the tutorial metrics, and graphing the selection. Store that image in your mind, and then select the New Orleans node, choose its resource graphs, select the first index of the tutorial metrics, and graph that selection. Now compare the image in your head with the image on the screen. Difficult, isn't it? Build a KSC to do this and more through the GUI. From the OpenNMS front page, select Reports, KSC Reports. Now click on Create New to create a new report. Give the report the title Random 1. Allow the report to present a timespan selector. Add a new graph to the report. Select the Denver node and view its resources. Page through the resources and select Tutorial 1. Tutorial 1 is on the third page. Close the child resource. The graph of Tutorial 1 for Denver is displayed. Change the timespan to 2 hours. Click on Done with this graph. This is the first graph in the KSC. To add a new graph, click on Add New Graph. Select the New Orleans node and click on View Child Resources. Jump to page 3, select Tutorial 1, and click on Choose Child Resource. The graph appears. Set the timespan to 2 hours. Click on Done with this graph. Both graphs now appear. Click on Add New Graph. Select the New York node and click on View Child Resources. Jump to page 3, select Tutorial 1, and click on Choose Child Resource. The graph appears. Set the timespan to 2 hours. Click on Done with this graph. There are now 3 graphs in the KSC report. Click on Add New Graph. Select the Sacramento node and click on View Child Resources. Jump to page 3 and select Tutorial 1 and click on Choose Child Resource. The graph appears. Select the timespan to 2 hours. Click on Done with this graph. The Tutorial 1 metric of all 4 nodes is now in the KSC report. Scroll down a bit and click on Save Report. From the KSC Reports page, highlight Random 1 and click on View. Scroll down to view each graph in the report. KSC report configurations are stored in the file ksc-performance-reports.xml. This is a text file that can be directly edited to speed up the creation of KSCs. The task is to create a Random 2, Random 3, and Random 4 KSC based on the Random 1 KSC. Return to the command line and the directory /opt/OpenNMS/etc. Make a backup copy of ksc-performance-reports.xml. Edit ksc-performance-reports.xml. This is the definition of the Random 1 KSC report. The report element has 4 graph subelements, 1 for each node. The report element includes ID and title attributes. Each sub-element defines its own resource, identifying the node by that node's foreign source and foreign ID, and the child resource by the resource type name and resource index. The first thing to do is change the report ID to 11. This will help group reports. Copy and paste the entire report element just below the original report element. This report element will refer to the tutorial resource type's second index. Change the report ID to 12 and change the title to random2. Change each graph's index to 2. Paste another copy of random1 below random2. This report element will refer to the tutorial resource type's third index. Change the report ID to 13 and change the title to random3. Change each graph's index to 3. Paste another copy of random1 below random3. This report element will refer to the tutorial resource type's fourth index. Change the report ID to 14 and change the title to random4. Change each graph's index to 4. Save and close the file. Return to the KSC Reports page and click on Request a Reload of the KSC Reports configuration. Select Yes on the confirmation dialog. Then recycle the page. The 4 reports are now listed. After performing such an operation, it is always a good idea to check things out. Click on Random1 and select View. Scroll down the report and verify its validity. Return to the KSC Reports page. Click on Random2 and select View. Scroll down the report and verify its validity. Return to the KSC Reports page. Click on Random3 and select View. Scroll down the report and verify its validity. Return to the KSC Reports page. Finally, click on Random4 and select View. Scroll down the report and verify its validity. Return to the KSC Report page. The KSC reports are fine for demonstration purposes, but it is still a bit difficult to compare the Denver and Sacramento values for each index. It may help to increase the number of graphs visible at a single time. This can be done by increasing the number of graphs that appear on each line in a KSC. Return to the console and edit ksc-performance-reports.xml. For each report, change graphs per line from 0 to 2. Save and close the file. Return to the KSC Reports page and click on Request a Reload of the KSC Reports configuration. Select Yes on the confirmation dialog. Then recycle the page. Click on Random1 and select View. There are now 2 graphs per line, and it may be possible to view all graphs at one time. Return to the KSC Reports page. Click on Random2 and select View. There are now 2 graphs per line, and it may be possible to view all graphs at one time. Return to the KSC Reports page. Click on Random3 and select View. There are now 2 graphs per line, and it may be possible to view all graphs at one time. Return to the KSC Reports page. Click on Random4 and select View. There are now 2 graphs per line, and it may be possible to view all graphs at one time. Return to the KSC Reports page. There are at least 2 methods of accessing KSC reports aside from going to the KSC Reports page. The first is from the OpenNMS front page, and the second is through browser bookmarks. From the OpenNMS front page, type the name of the KSC report in the KSC Reports search box. Select Random1 and verify that it displays. There is no need to demonstrate accessing the remaining KSC reports from the front page. Make sure the bookmarks bar is showing on the browser. From the KSC Reports page, select Random1 and click on View. Bookmark the resulting page using a simple name such as KSC Random1. Copy and paste the bookmark. Edit the new bookmark, changing the name to KSC Random 2 and modifying the URL to reference report 12. This is one of the main reasons to group report IDs in a simple order. Save the changes. Copy and paste the bookmark. Edit the new bookmark, changing the name to KSC Random 3 and modifying the URL to reference report 13. Save the changes. Copy and paste the bookmark. Edit the new bookmark, changing the name to KSC Random 4 and modifying the URL to reference report 14. Save the changes. Open each of the bookmarks in a separate tab to verify things have worked. Finally, consider one KSC vulnerability, the ability of one user to step on another user's KSC report. In this sample, Violet will alter the KSC report random 1, and the effect will be visible on the same report being viewed by deaf user. Remember, Violet is not an admin. Begin by logging in as Violet on a different browser. Violet opens up KSC reports and selects Random 1 for viewing. Violet selects Customize this report and chooses to modify the first graph. The timeline is changed from 2 hours to 7 days. Violet is done making changes and saves the report. Violet selects Random 1 from the KSC reports page and views it. The first graph is using a different time span than the other graphs. Meanwhile, deaf user is also looking at the Random 1 KSC report when, within a matter of minutes, the graph of the Denver node changes from 2 hours to 7 days. This causes deaf user to customize this report, modifying the first graph to use 2 hours instead of 7 days. Deaf user goes through the process of saving the changes and reopens the report. All is well with deaf user, but Violet witnesses the reversion on her view. The changes could go on and ad infinitum. The point is made. OpenNMS admins should implement a KSC reports modification process to avoid situations like this. To summarize, KSCs provide users with a method to organize graphs as they prefer. There can be a few gotchas working with KSCs. There is a preference in OpenNMS to use Grafana versus KSC reports. However, this will require extra administrative time.